Good morning. Everybody doing okay? Good. Cozy be proud of this turnout. He'd be proud of everybody being in the gym. He'd be disappointed we weren't upstairs working out, but that's okay. We can go to that later. We open at noon. My name's Matt Lilly. I work for the Y, and we're grateful for all of y'all being here this morning to celebrate a great friend of ours. I'm going to invite Andy up to introduce the family. We've got a few folks to speak, and then we'll have time to hang out and celebrate some more. So thank y'all for being here.
Thanks, Matt. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Thank the Y especially. The Y was a really special place to my father. This was his foundation. I mean, this is what kept him grounded, and all the great friends that he met here, and the Dream Teamers. He'd been through a lot of Dream Teamers over the years, and y'all meant so much to him. So I really just want to appreciate from our family. Thank y'all for being here. Thank you for loving Cozy. We love him so much, and we miss him so much. So appreciate it. I want to introduce our family now. If the family would stand up. And I'm not talking about the Dream Team. We'll get to y'all later. Okay, so older brother Tim. Tim, raise your hand. His wife, Pharrell. Son, Hayes. Daughter, Lizzie. My mother, Jane. My sister, Jimmy. Her daughter, Lily. We know Cozy's wife, Fee. Her daughter, Hannah. And Laylan. Laylan, you're so cute. Robert, is it Robert? Robert is here. Josh is also Fee's son. His wife, Melissa. Then my younger brother, Ross. His wife, Lynn. And Will Felton, my son. Will Felton. My other son, Davis. And my lovely better half, Gina. And we've got some cousins here too. Samuel, where's Samuel? Samuel and Samuel. So, and thanks to the cousins and everybody else, the extended family that are here, and then all of our Y family. We really appreciate you letting us do this here. This is very special to us, so thank you very much.
Okay, guys. Speck Underwood. Where's Speck? Speck, I think you're up next. Can we give a round of applause for Speck?
I don't think I'll need this, so I'll just leave it here. But what a wonderful celebration that as I look out and see everyone that just love Cozy.
I'm gonna turn you up too. You're good.
Okay.
They tell to put it close. You gotta shout at them.
Oh, all right. As I'm looking at the slides this morning, there was one slide that I really didn't understand. When Cozy bought that little car, that thing was bigger than. It was unbelievable. And I remember Cozy driving up, and when he did, I looked at this giant of a man get out of this car, and the first thing that came to my mind was, how is he going to get back in it? And then something came to my mind, and it was, which we all know, nothing was too big or small for my Cozy to handle. You know, when the Lord brings us into this world, He gives us gifts. Some of us use that gift. Some of us don't. My Cozy used every one of his gifts, and he not only used it, he shared it with each one of you. And as I look out and look in your eyes, I wonder what gift is going through your mind right now that Cozy gave to you. He gave me an awful lot of gifts. I think one of the most important gifts that he gave me, that he just cared about you. And when he spoke to you, his eyes were directly into your eyes. He blinked very often. His words touched you, and they were not just words. They were from his heart. And I think as I look out and I see your faces, you can see the times that you've been with Cozy and what he really, really has meant to you. They talk about the Y. The Y was Cozy's second home. There wasn't any doubt about that. And I thought it was proper that maybe I just read to you the mission of the Y. It's to put Christian principles into practice through programs that build healthy spirit, minds, body for all. I can tell you when Cozy walked into this place, he loved every person that worked here, and his heart was in every young child that visited this place. You know, I know Cozy is in this room right now, and I know that I can't turn around and give him a great big hug, but I tell you what I do know. I know that the gifts that he has given me and the gifts that he has given you, we can use, and I can assure you it'll make us a much better person. Cozy, I love you. Cozy, you mean an awful lot to an awful lot of people, and you will never be forgotten.
I have a poem written to my grandfather from my grandmother. Dedicated to my grandfather. Do not stand at my grave and weep. I am not there, I do not sleep. I am 1,000 winds that blow. I am the diamond glints on snow. I am the sunlight on ripened grain. I am the gentle autumn rain. When you awaken in the morning's hush, I am the swift uplifting rush of quiet birds in circled flight. I am the soft stars that shine at night. Do not stand at my grave and cry. I am not there, I did not die.
Great to be back in this building. I'm Tom Fetzer. Most of you know me as Paul Coble's little brother. I was cleaning out some drawers the other day and I found my 1965 YMCA membership card. And back in those days when you said the Y, you didn't have to ask which one. A lot of friends and a lot of memories here, and a lot of memories of Cozy. When I was a 10-year-old Y member and I was bored in the summer and I would whine to my mother about not having any friends, not having anything to do, she'd say, if you want to have a friend, be a friend. That should be Cozy's epitaph. And that's why all you are here. And what a diverse, eclectic group of friends. So a man that can bring David Crabtree, Ken Udy, Colin Willoughby, Paul Coble, and I to his funeral, that man had broad appeal. And he was a friend to everybody. Hello, General. Gary Pendleton, too, I should add in that list. Raise your hand if you remember of the Dream Team. So the Dream Team was an unofficial workout group, and Cozy was our coach. And it was, like everything else, an eclectic and diverse group of people. Some were in shape, and some, like me, were trying to get in shape. And I looked forward every day to coming here to the Y, and Cozy would have everything organized. Tuesday was the gun show, meaning that was bicep day. Wednesdays were junk in the trunk. I'll leave it to your imagination what that was all about. And the one thing that you knew was going to happen is at some point in the afternoon you were going to get one of those Cozy Felton hugs, which was, he didn't really hug you, he just kind of enveloped you, you know, and you knew you were loved. And You know, he did have a gift, Spec. He had a gift of making you feel better, almost immediately. And even if you weren't having a bad day, even if you felt great when you got here, you were going to feel better after you left. And that was his gift to all of us. And you only need to know one thing about what a unique man he was, his name, Cozy. Anybody else ever known anybody named Cozy? Cozy and I had an additional bond to most of you. Cozy was from my mother's hometown, little place in Hertford County called Ahoskie. Now, if you live in North Carolina, your chances of running into somebody else from Ahoskie are about 5 in 12 million. And so we bonded over that, and my mother loved him, and her brother, my Uncle Bernie, loved him. He was just a great guy. And I think the best way that we can make a lasting legacy for Cozy and his family is to do what he did to all of us, be a friend. God bless you, Cozy, and Fee, God bless you and your family. Now my big brother. This was a beauty before age thing.
That's his subtle way of saying I'm old. Older, I stand corrected. Spec, you were absolutely right. Cozy had a lot of gifts, and one of them is right here, right now. We all get this chance to be together, and it's great to be here and to see so many people I know that I haven't seen in a while. That is a gift that I truly appreciate. And Cozy was the kind of guy that could do that. We've laughed about the fact that his life existed between Glenwood Gardens and the Y, and anything in between. You know, whether it's Glenwood Grill or Haggerty's or the grocery store, but everything was on the road, Oberlin Road, between here and there, and every now and then he might go do a little work. But his life was really on this path. And he was something else. Somewhere along the line, I ended up with a parking space back on the backside of the brownstone, real near Cozy. And we were on sort of the same schedule, so we would show up at the same time, and I'd get out and we'd exchange greetings. And as Spec said, he'd show up in that little Mini Cooper, and he'd have the top down. And we'd get out on a pretty day, and I'd look at it, and he'd go to that trunk, and he'd start pulling stuff out. And it'd be a racket, or racket balls, or racquetball shoes, or racquetball goggles. And I would stand there, marvel at how many things he could get in that tiny little trunk. I don't think it was any bigger than this stand right here. It was tiny, and yet he could pull anything he wanted out of there. And I asked him one time, I said, but you're leaving the top down and you're leaving it unlocked. You got all your stuff in the front. Aren't you afraid somebody's going to steal that? He said, if they do, they need it more than I do. They can have it. And that was sort of Cozy. I mean, it was fine with him. And if you went somewhere and you were in a restaurant and you run into Cozy and you had somebody with you and you would introduce them to Cozy for the first time, you might as well just stand aside because Cozy took over. And by the time you finished, they had a new friend in Cozy, and they were so impressed that you knew this guy, because they knew he was somebody important. They didn't know who he was, but they knew he was somebody important, and he made them feel important. And that was so great. That's just something, as Spec said, one of the gifts that he was able to bring. One of the other things he was able to do was he obviously could really convince people to do things that I never would have thought could happen. He convinced my wife to join the Dream Team. And she had a pink shirt with Dream Team on it, and she would show up here regularly and work out, and I never believed that would happen a day in my life. That just was beyond belief. But that spoke so much about Cozy and the way he would draw people in. And whether it was Tom or Mel or Patrick or any of the other folks Linda, any of the other folks on the Dream Team, they got along great. They came together. There was a real camaraderie that was so important. I'd wander over every now and then when I wasn't doing much and just to check on them, make sure everything was going well. And it always was. As Tom said, every day was a different day. But every day was important, because every day was a day you got to spend some time with Cozy, and that meant a lot. So looking back, I just have to stop and thank you for bringing everybody together. This is a real gift. The chance to think about Cozy and share is also a gift, and I just want to thank everybody for being here. I hope I get a chance to speak to everybody that I know that I haven't had a chance to see yet, but just think about Cozy running up and down Oberlin Road, and in that little Mini Cooper with the top down, that big smile and that laugh of his. It wasn't really a full-out laugh. It was just kind of a grin and kind of a chuckle, but he was something else. He was a friend, and I will surely miss him. Thanks, V.
Good morning. Is this okay? Good morning. My name is Mel Broughton, and I'm here to celebrate, like you all, and remember our dear friend, Cozy Felton. I saw my good buddy Ed Bailey earlier, and Ed and Cozy were classmates at State. And Ed and I talk once in a while, and every time Ed will say, well, Mel, how's Gary? And I'm sitting there going, Gary who? I didn't know a Gary. Finally, it dawned on me, he was asking me about Cozy. I said, oh, yeah, Cozy's good. I see him 3 days a week. Cozy was a much better fit than Gary. Like a lot of you all, I met Cozy right here at the Y. Years ago, I noticed this big guy working out with several other people, like Tom and Paul and Connie and others, doing things like COD workouts, which I would later come to find out meant circle of death. Lots of pain, lots of soreness, and maybe a little more pain. After a while, I joined Cozy and crew to work out 3 days a week. Before the pandemic, we had a very diverse group. One guy from Colombia, and I don't mean South Carolina. One guy from China, he's here today. A couple of black guys, a couple of old white guys, and Cozy. The group was a tribute to the Y, of course, to have that kind of crowd working out on a regular basis, but Cozy was the leader of the dream team. You just didn't ordinarily walk in and become a member of the dream team. You actually had to do more than just talk. You had to work out a lot and just not sit back and talk about the topics of the day. And if you did a good job over some amount of time, you would qualify for a team t-shirt. Now, I did not qualify for a pink t-shirt like Connie did, which is a good thing. If I can get this done. I always wanted to take my shirt off in front of a big crowd, but there we go, the official black Dream Team shirt. But think about it, on Thursday, we all wore these little shirts and wandered around the Y. And you think the other younger folks here would say, look, who are those guys wandering around with those Dream Team shirts on? You know, if that's a dream, I don't want to be in that dream. That looks like more like a nightmare. We loved being on the Dream Team. Working out with people, you get to know them, like, what they do for a living, who they pull for, or who they pulled against in the case of Carolina. But over the years, Cozy did a lot of work for Jenny and I. He painted 2 houses, one twice. If something happened, it was always better call Cozy. If Jenny called Cozy, he came running. If I called him, not so much. The first time we got together on a job, it was to paint our house on Riddick Drive. Cozy said, don't worry, Mel. I'm sending my best crew, Reuben and the Romantics. Later on, I got to thinking, did I just hire a paint crew or a band? But Reuben, Cha-Cha, and Luis, and others, Cozy loved you guys. He was very proud of the work you did for me and for so many others. But more importantly, he was really proud of how you are with your families and the men you are and the families you were raising. Cozy would talk about the many celebrations he went to for big events in a child's life and that kind of thing. He was so excited about these things, he almost talked me into trying to go. Not quite. The last time I talked to Cozy was the Sunday night before he died. My good friend Clyde Douglas and I were coming back from Winston-Salem. Where we'd seen Wake Forest beat Alabama by 2 touchdowns. Granted, it was baseball, but anytime you beat Alabama by 2 touchdowns, you gotta brag about it. And we're riding back to Raleigh, and Cozy calls us. He just called to congratulate us, talk about the games, how awesome it was, and oh, by the way, he did tell us he was in the hospital in Wilmington. He sounded pretty good, a little hoarse, and you'd hear Fee in the background saying, "He's had a heart attack, he's had a heart attack." So to keep it short, and we thought we would see him later in the week. That Tuesday night, Jenny and I got to go say goodbye to Cozy. He seemed very much at peace, and we got to visit a bit and say a couple of prayers over him. And on the way to Wilmington, Jenny found a small wooden cross in her pocketbook that we had gotten in Israel 3 years ago. She put the cross in Cozy's hand, and he made a fist around it and would not let go. We're all going to have our time. None of us is promised tomorrow. And I hope that each of us here has a chance to grab a hold of the cross, and I hope we will be like Cozy and not let go.
Good morning, everyone. It's like this back there. Good morning, everyone. I agree with everything I've heard, and I know all of you do too. There was nobody quite like him. I'm going to tell just 2 short stories this morning that will reveal a little bit about my relationship with Cozy and how much I thought about him. First one is called the chili cooking contest. And the second story will be called the invasion. Shortly after meeting Cozy, he convinced me that I needed to be working out. I had met Fee and shook her hand, and boy, I knew I needed to work out. He'd worked a miracle with Fee. She was as strong as she was beautiful. I began working out with a group he referred to as the Dream Team, and you've heard something about the Dream Team, and that became a regular 3-day-a-week routine. And shortly after I joined, I learned there was going to be a chili cooking contest. And it was planned by Cozy and Fee and was scheduled to be held in front of Cozy's office, Heritage, in the Glenwood Village parking lot. And that the money raised would be given to the Y as a donation to be part of the We Build People Fund. I was assigned a task to provide paper plates, paper bowls, forks, and cups. I called Melville's and mine good friend Charles King, who gladly opened up the warehouse at the Garland C. Norris Company. I think he kicked a few crates of paper bowls and paper plates so that they'd be written off as damaged goods. But we had all we needed for the chili cooking contest. And my first ride in Cozy's convertible was out to Apex to the warehouse. And I don't think besides Cozy and me, there was a whole lot of room in there, but whatever space was there was the paper condiments. I'll tell you about that. That was the first ride because I'll get to the second ride in just a minute. The evening finally arrived for the event, and it was a huge success. I can't begin to remember whose chili won, but a very well-behaved crowd made for a very large and successful evening. It just couldn't have been any better. There were some beverages, there was chili, there was dessert, and just, it was an event. It had a lot of energy. Shortly after this event, Cozy informed the Dream Team that a large amount, an impressive amount of money was raised and given to the Y. About it, coinciding with that, around the corner in the gym the next time we met as the Dream Team, May's brother Doug McMillan shows up and says, "Clyde, how do you spell Cozy? I need to write him a letter." I said, "It's Gary." It was a big success. It was the one and only chili cooking contest, but it showed Cozy's ability and Fee's ability to organize, to plan. The whole idea was to benefit the YMCA, which he dearly loved, but the fun generated from that event was my first real glimpse into Cozy's special abilities and gifts. The wedding invitation. Cozy wanted me to go and take a look at a real estate situation that was brewing up in Creedmoor. And in the offing at the end was going to be lunch at the Village Deli. No surprise there in Cameron Village. I remember we were in the Mini because he lowered the top and I didn't have a hat on. And I got a bit of sunburn on top. We had a number of interesting conversations on that ride, and I learned how Cozy and Fee had met and that they were in love, but they weren't married. I suggested to him that in my opinion, marrying her might be a wise thing to do. We went on to talk about other matters that day. We both had the same dentist, and Russell Walton. And I don't know if anybody else in here had Russell Walton for a dentist, but if you could survive that, you were really prepared for almost anything. And Cozy said, I don't know that I want that tooth pulled, Dr. Walton. He said, "I don't know why. You're not going to Hollywood anyway." And Cozy loved to tell that story. I'm pretty sure that afternoon when we arrived back at the Village Deli, Cozy had fried oysters on a salad, and I'm pretty sure I had a chicken Philly with sweet potato fries. That was a great day. About a month later, I was in the office late in the afternoon and my phone rang. It was Cozy. He said, "Clyde, if you want to see it, get down here at the Y in 15 minutes and we'll be in the chapel. Don't tell anybody." When I arrived, I busted a move to get there. And when I arrived, I was greeted by Mr. and Mrs. Cozy Felton. And I met his sons were there as well that day. It was a wonderful day. Fee, we loved him and love you too. And thank you for organizing this, and it's just been a great opportunity to see everyone.
Still good morning. My name is Ronnie Grove, and my wife Patty Sue. For lack of a better word, for the last 10 years we've lived with Cozy and Fee. We were absolutely next door neighbors. We followed Hannah in her studies and kept up with her. We all lived in Glenwood Gardens. I started a long time ago with Cozy, probably before some of y'all did. I played football against Cozy in high school. Scotland Neck played the Husky Indians, Tom. And needless to say, with Cozy's build he made me a better football player, because damn if I wanted to run into him, I'd go all the way around if I could. But then we drifted apart, and as we were looking for our condo, Alan Murray told us, says, well, the guy that lives right next to you, going to live next to you, knows you. And I said, who is it? He said, Cozy Felton. I didn't know Cozy. He was always Gary Felton. I knew where number 54 was every time I got the ball, and I knew that I didn't want to run into that fella. And lo and behold, the minute I saw him, I said, Gary. He said, no, it's Cozy. I said, okay. So we became, and as the old saying goes, for the last 10 years, we were brothers by a different mother. And you never passed him in the hall that I didn't get a great big hug from him and a lot of information. And some of his stories were just absolutely amazing. He and I were teasing one night. We used to go out with Fee and eat a lot, and when we went with Cozy, we ate a lot too, because it was always fun. And Cozy and I had the old saying of every night's a Saturday night, every meal's a banquet, every day's a holiday. But all the gifts and stories that he had were really unsurmountable by anybody else, as Mel and Speck said, and so did Tom. But he used to tell me, one of his favorite sayings was, well, I'd pass him in the hall and we'd hug. He says, do you hear that noise? You hear that noise? Well, we always had an air conditioner or something going out in there, and I'm trying to listen to a noise. He says, listen. They're screaming for metal. They're screaming for metal. And that means he was going to the Y, to the dream team, to lift weights, but he'd always say, hear that noise? And he didn't have to say anything else. That's all he said. I can remember, I'm going to tell you one story, and I'm going to let it end at that. It's really, as Speck said, it's a testimony to Cozy Felton with how many people that are here. And everyone here loved him dearly. I can remember one night we used to let our cats run up and down the hall, and Patty Sue and I'd go at the end of the hall and sit. And one night they came in from eating, and Cozy would always sit down and talk to us. And Cozy sat down and said, how you doing? So they went out to eat at Waraji's at the sushi place. And Fee went on to the house, and Cozy sat there and talked to us. Well, eventually Patty Sue got up and went in the house, and so I'm sitting there, and Cozy and I talking, and Cozy says, damn, my feet hurt. I looked down, I said, well, what's wrong? He said, these shoes, they don't fit me right. I said, really? He said, yeah. He said, what size shoe you wear? I said, 9.5. He said, here, try these on. I tried them on, and there they are right there. There they are right there. Cozy said, you got a new pair of shoes, boy. And he walked on in the house barefooted. He gave them to me right there. And as Speck says, it's ironic that we can all say we are better people because of Cozy Felton. We think, we listen, and we're happy. Love you, bro.
Hey, good morning. Thank you, everybody, for being here. This is awesome. I'm Ross Felton. I'm Cozy's youngest son. He often introduced me as his brother. So anyway, thank you all for coming. So there's not a lot to say that hasn't already been said. A couple things I want to talk about. First, I want to address the Mini Cooper and the convertible situation. Last night, we went to Clues as a family. My mom wanted to go do something to kind of recognize him, and so we went to Clues, and we came back to my brother's house, and I wanted to go walk from my brother Andy's house to where we grew up at Scale Street. So we kind of had a nice walk. It was a nice night, and reminiscing about a lot of stories. And so I just put this together this morning, so the whole small car convertible thing. Probably in the 70s, mid to late 70s, I was a very young child. My dad had, I think it was a midget, a Fiat midget maybe, or an MG midget. It was a little blue car, Spider, and it was the biggest piece of crap. He loved that car, and he always had the top down. He always wanted to go somewhere. We could never get out of the neighborhood because the thing broke down so many times. So I think part of Cozy having a convertible later on in life was to fulfill that enjoyment. We told the story. We were walking from Andy's house over off of Glenwood. We walked across Wade Avenue, and we grew up on Scale Street at the corner of, basically just up the street from the corner of Scale Street and Wade Avenue. And I told my son, I was like, here's a story. Told him about the car. I said, I'll never forget the day that Cozy sold that car. And we watched the guy drive off. And about 5 minutes later, the doorbell rang, and went to the front door, and the guy who had bought that car had made it to the bottom of Scale Street at Wade Avenue, and it broke down. And so anyway, I think the Mini Cooper is finally fulfilling his dream to have a small sports car. So anyway, so again, thank you guys. I think one of the things that I heard this morning before we came in here, I had 3 conversations in a row, and one thing that came up in each one of those 3 conversations was help. Cozy helped me here. I didn't know Cozy had helped so many people do this. Cozy helped me do such and such. So Cozy was a people person, no question. I think somebody's already referenced this, but if you look in this room at the diversity of not skin color, but backgrounds of everybody that's here, it's a testimony to who Cozy was. He loved everybody and was kind to everybody, and I'm going to make it a mission in my life to be more like Cozy. So I'm going to close with this. I had the pleasure to spend the last few days with Cozy, and one of the things I saw as he was his last day with us, 2 instances, and I was able to witness both of them. One was a very successful old Raleigh, inside the Beltline businessman whispered in his ear, "I love you. You mean the world to me. You have done so much to help me." And not 10 minutes later, almost to a T, those same words were spoken by someone who had recently immigrated to this country and was working his ass off to provide for his family. Completely different situation from the previous gentleman, and whispered in his ear, "I love you. You've done so much to help me. You mean the world to me." And so I was able to see that. I think we all know that, but I was able to see that, and that's a testimony to the man he was, and I think while we're all here. So thank y'all, and we all love Cozy. God bless you, Cozy.
Hi, my name is Rob. Fee, thanks for asking me to speak on behalf of Cozy. Today, there are not a lot of heroes, at least in my life, but Cozy was one of those to me. He was a hero. He was a friend. He was a brother. I met him in 2001. We all know the gifts that Cozy had to bring people together, to make people laugh. I was fortunate to be his orthopedic surgeon for decades, and I would be in the office, and I would say to my nurse, why are all the rooms vacant? Where are the patients? And I'd walk out into the lobby, and Cozy would be out there in the lobby talking with dozens of patients. And I said, "Cozy, you got to come back. We got to keep people moving through." But Cozy was engaging with my staff. Patients that I would see after I saw Cozy would ask who Cozy was. He made more of an impression on my patients than I did. And that's just who Cozy was. As Speck said, he gave us lots of gifts and talents and love that we can carry forward. Cozy always told me, I said, Rob, get out of your own way. You get in your way, then you're going to get into trouble. So get out of your way, and things will work out. And that's one thing I remember deeply about Cozy. We spoke every day for the last 3 months of his life. I spoke with him on Monday night before he passed, before he went to get his cardiac cath. It was, I took off that Tuesday and canceled patients and drove down to see him on Tuesday. And it was really sad. Sadness is a real honoring feeling to me. It honors something that's lost, something that you'll never have again. And I'm still really sad about Cozy moving on. But I've got such great memories of Cozy, and he taught me a lot about life, about surviving, about comebacks. And I think most people here would have a similar story about how Cozy helped him. So I miss him. I'm sad, and I appreciate the family that I've taken care of over the years. And it's a joy and a gift to be able to call myself a friend of Cozy. Thank you very much.
Good morning. You knew him as Cozy. I knew him as Dad. We knew him as Dad. Dad could walk into the room, and his presence was felt. He was bigger than the room. His aura, his jovial laugh, what a presence. I could always tell when Dad was nearby. You could hear him if you were in a store. You could hear him on the aisles, a few aisles over. I have so many memories to look back on. Some make me laugh, some make me cringe. Growing up in a family with 3 brothers and Mom and Dad was exciting, to say the least. There was always something going on. Some of my favorite memories are Dad would call a family meeting at the dinner table. At the time, that was not a good thing, but now we can all look back and laugh on it. We got a chance to travel with the family. I got the chance to see Dad at the Y when I would try to schedule my time here when he wasn't here so he wouldn't be yelling at me and trying to get me to do certain things. We always enjoyed Christmas brunch with Dad, Thanksgiving and birthday celebrations, cooking out or going to dinner with Dad. I worked alongside both my parents for 10 years. They both taught me about working hard and doing my best. Dad always wanted to help others with addiction, and he did just that. And yes, I can still see him cruising around Cameron Village in his convertible. I'm thankful that we all got to say goodbye after all being together in Wilmington for a celebration. Dad loved celebrations. How do I sum up a man that was in my life for so long? It's hard to do with words. I know he's in heaven, shag dancing with the angels, sharing his favorite travels or recipes. I know that he's at peace, looking down on each one of us, knowing we miss him, but we will see him again. I love you, Dad, with all my heart, and I thank y'all for loving him.
Cozy was contagious. For those of you who couldn't hear, Mom just said, "I'll say." So for your entire family, I hope you will realize what it means to us to have the opportunity to honor Cozy as a contagion, as a friend. People have talked about his storytelling, and you've told stories about him. Cozy also had the rare talent and gift to be a story receiver.
I think that's why he may have been in the waiting room with people, because he always wanted to hear your story. Tell me how you are. David, how are your girls? What's happening with you? He wanted to know more, which gave him very little time to talk about himself. There's a passage in John that talks about laying down your life for your friends. What a wonderful passage, because it's not only about laying down your life for your friends, that we would think that might mean in death, but it means we do it in life, that we're not distracted by shiny objects, but we listen to one another. He was not only contagious, he was an artist. He transformed. Look at the transformation of this gym into a sanctuary for today because of what he did and what he believed. One of the things we shared, other than being parents and a love of life and laughter, were tears. We were both drummers. We understood percussion. We understood the percussion. We understood a dead mic. All right, in the midst of that, I heard, number one, I'd talk too long, and secondly, always have batteries. I think those came out of Cozy's trunk. Because of what Speck said earlier, I think it was it you, Speck, that talked about, who talked about what was in Cozy's trunk? Paul, okay. That there was always something there. I will end with this, the point I was making about understanding the concussions of life. Each of us experience those daily. Sometimes it's more than others. It's the ability, like that head of the drum, that you bounce back when you have been pounded. But it's from that pounding that the beautiful sound would come. They are not mutually exclusive. It's how life presents itself. So, Cozy, we know you have already been welcomed into the arms of your Creator. May your memory forever just last and last and last. And may we take just a moment of silence and then a brief prayer. Creator of the universe, you created us in your image, which means you have a lot of images. Thank you for the gift of life. Thank you for the gift of Cozy's life and how it impacted so many, and it will continue to impact throughout eternity. As he is welcomed home, let him know that we cry, we mourn, we laugh, and we say, you left us much too soon. Amen.
Always good to have the bike go out for a professional. Guys, I'm going to put a bow on this. Thank y'all. I want to say a couple things. There's more refreshments in the lobby, and the Y doesn't open until noon. So we'd love for y'all to hang out and spend some time celebrating with the family and continue to connect with friends. You're in this room because the Y had a huge impact on Cozy's life. But the Y staff that's in the room are here because Cozy had a huge impact on our lives. And so I'm looking around and I see Meg and Jess in the back. Holly's here, Captain Jim, some folks blast from the past. I saw Mark here. I saw Sherry Carroll. I saw Miss Donna. I saw a bunch of people. Cozy, we are proud of the impact the Y and the community we had on Cozy. But we'd be remiss to not say that Cozy treated us like family. as well. And that's why we all came this morning, and that's why we wanted to open this opportunity. And so I'm grateful for everybody in the room. Thank you for Cozy, and thank y'all to the family for letting the Y be a part of this celebration. And with that, we're free to go. Thank y'all.